Good evening, folks. Tonight with the next John Joe Kelly breakdown bit and exercise, and this comes in various different formats, and I'll show you one version of it. But it comes right before he breaks into the hole, or rather, sometimes that leads up to it. We all know this one. Yeah. It eventually leads to the hole. That sort of thing. What I'm looking for instead is this. And the idea is that it's a series of quick single end rolls, double downs and things, and then full up bass. So what we're getting instead is something more like that sort of idea. So to break this down, get whatever baby grip or single end grip or whatever that you feel most comfortable. Get comfortable with that. Just start with the basic back and forth swings. And then get used to the whole 1, 2, pretty simple stuff. Now try to think of it a little bit quicker now, the whole. Instead of having, think about it sort of ascending and descending. It's a combination of moving in and down at the same time, trying to get that breathy sort of sound to it. It's not as this, it's actually from here. Because you want quick response to the bass without having to go from here to here. So not this. That's a different thing. We want doubles going. So starting with this in the jig pattern, no doubles, and then start throwing doubles in. Now the hardest part of this is getting that sound to go. Now I've done this before. I'm talking about it from here. That sound is basically the whole and the descending part of it, which is that sort of idea. So we know that part in his solo. We know that part. But this is the same idea being applied in a more strict sense down here. That's the general idea. So key factors to this success is that if you have very little skill and any experience doing doubles, you need the doubles, or else this isn't going to work. This is also not done this way. In this case, you could do it. But what I'm looking for in this case is strictly off the single end. Versus this would be if you can't get that, but you still need the doubles. That sort of idea. The other thing is relax. If you're tense, you ain't going to do it, but you can use tension anyway as you're winding it up, because you tense up anyway when you contract to move your forearm. Tense it up and let it determine how quickly you kind of come in and out of it. So instead of just trying to be faster, let the muscle contract so that it's not having to move back and forth quite as much. And then you can kind of release it. So instead of it, you're trying to make the contract and release. Like that. You can almost breathe with it. You can kind of time your breathing with it. It's almost like taking something out of the martial arts, because it's generally where I kind of got the idea of the breathing aspect to it. Also notice I'm using a lock grip rather than the baby grip. I like that because I actually use my thumb to speed it up, so I'm quite loose here. And then close the thumb in a squeeze. I found that out by just going that this motion is faster than my forearm. So if I'm using a typical baby grip, I won't call it typical baby grip, but a baby grip, which relies everything on the forearm. This just makes it easier because you can control it through the forearm and you can control it modified with the thumb. I have a very old video from probably the first series of videos I have called the thumb lock video. Watch that video to understand how this works versus this. I primarily use this for another reason, and that's mainly for the tone. I just find it's easier for doing some things. And if you listen differently, or if you listen at this, versus this, it's a different feel of control, and the sound is sharper this way because I have to hold it that way to equate this. This is easier, it's a mellower sound, richer sound. But this is a louder crack of a sound compared to that. Versus, it's a different sound. It doesn't quite sound the same. I don't know if my mic is actually giving you that much of a difference, so if you're wearing headphones, please do. You might actually hear a little bit of a difference to it. So this is not a video for the beginners. This is definitely a more advanced video. Coming up in future John Joe Kelly stuff, we're going to break into the quick reels that he's doing. And that's when we're going to start using the doubles of the double-ended stuff where it's going. We're also going to look at some of the stuff he does with the rim shots. All that sort of stuff. The whole understanding your propriosensory and limitations of the throw. That sort of thing. So there's lots still in these videos, taking ideas for exercises from John Joe Kelly. You know, I've also had a request for a future video on Ronan O'Snody's playing, as well as Colm Phelan. That should be Colm Murphy, pardon me. That I'm working on. I'm working on Colm Murphy. So you'll probably get to see some of that. I need to study that a lot more. So maybe in a month or two, you might see some Colm Murphy videos in the future from me. But until then, keep at it. I know you guys work hard at this stuff. I know it's a joy for you, so keep it a joy. Don't worry if it doesn't come too quickly, because it does take a while. You know, learn the doubles. Without the doubles, all of this is not going to work. Go back and watch his videos. Watch John Joe Kelly's various solo takes. Watch my original solo breakdown when I was in the basement studio. Watch my stuff on doubles. That'll be extremely, extremely helpful. If you cannot get by, if you're a carry player and you're not wanting to approach this, you're not going to simulate it. If you don't like dowel tippers, you can still do it with some of the other tipper types. No more of a semi-ball end tipper. And this is sort of where you play with the types of wood, how you're holding it, etc. If you're someone who plays like this, don't bother. If you're someone who likes to play sort of the this method, don't bother. You're going to destroy your wrist trying to keep up with the doubles, and you're going to just create yourself a whole lot more pain than it's really worth. Seriously, this method of playing here has its advantages, but you're really doing some serious damage to your wrist when you're doing that. Maybe not in the short term, but in the long term. And if you finish practicing, even the most basic stuff, and you feel sore in the wrist, change your playing style. Try to get that wrist straight. Bend it when you need to. Okay? You know, when you're attempting stuff like this, you're trying to emulate it. If you want to play like John Joe Kelly, or if you just want to play and borrow stuff from John Joe Kelly, you cannot be playing like this. You are going to destroy your wrist. Okay? So stop doing that and try to find other benefits of playing the wrist like this. Because even Ronan O'Snody's playing is like this. It's pretty simple. There's none of this. You can't, there's no muscles in the wrist. So don't use the wrist in that same sort of way. If you're playing that sort of style, great. That requires you to learn the wristy stuff. If not, you know, the whole that sort of stuff, you know, go for it. That's different. That requires a different set of skills. But just keep at it. The single end stuff is difficult. I am in the future going to be doing some special stuff on double-ended playing, but I haven't got around to writing it yet, and I think I'm going to get around to it when we look at Colm Murphy. So keep up the good work, folks, and catch you next time. Bye.